The 1976 penny that could be worth thousands. Stop scrolling for a second, because the penny sitting in your pocket right now could be hiding a surprise. Most people see a 1976 penny and think it's just another old coin worth 1 cent. They toss it into a jar, spend it without a second thought, or leave it forgotten in a drawer. But what if I told you that some 1976 pennies have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars? That's exactly why collectors across America still search through rolls of pennies looking for this coin. The year 1976 was special in American history because the nation was celebrating its bicentennial, and while the quarter, half dollar, and dollar received special designs, the Lincoln penny kept its familiar appearance. That simple fact caused millions of people to ignore these coins for decades. Today, however, collectors know there is much more to the story. Hidden among billions of ordinary 1976 pennies are valuable varieties, rare mint errors, and exceptionally preserved examples that can command serious money. Take a close look at your coin. On the front, you should see Abraham Lincoln facing right, along with the date 1976 and the words Liberty and In God We Trust. On the reverse is the Lincoln Memorial, the design used on pennies from 1959 through 2008. At first glance, there is nothing unusual about it. In fact, billions were produced. Philadelphia struck more than 4 billion examples, while Denver produced more than 4 billion as well. Because so many were made, most 1976 pennies remain common today. Yet collectors know that rarity is not always about mintage. Sometimes rarity comes from condition, errors, or unusual characteristics that separate one coin from millions of others. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is assuming every old penny is valuable. Age alone does not create value. Condition matters. A heavily worn 1976 penny that spent decades circulating through stores, gas stations, and vending machines is usually worth only a few cents. However, a coin that somehow escaped circulation and retained its original red copper color can be worth much more. Collectors pay premiums for coins that look almost exactly as they did when they left the mint. The brightest examples are designated red, often abbreviated as RD, and these are usually the most desirable pieces among Lincoln Memorial cent collectors. Now let's talk about the possibility that excites collectors the most: errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin-making process. Most errors are caught and destroyed before leaving the mint, but occasionally some escape into circulation. When that happens, collectors become interested because these mistakes create coins that are different from the billions of normal examples. A dramatic error can transform a 1-cent coin into a highly collectible piece. One of the most famous errors associated with the 1976 penny is the double die obverse. This variety occurs when the die used to strike coins receives multiple impressions during production at slightly different angles. The result is visible doubling on parts of the design. Collectors search carefully around the words Liberty and In God We Trust, as well as the date itself. Genuine double dies show clear, separated images rather than flat machine doubling. While minor examples may bring modest premiums, stronger certified examples have sold for impressive amounts. Some high-grade pieces have reached into the thousands of dollars at major auctions, making the double die one of the most exciting discoveries a collector can make. Another error worth watching for is the off-center strike. Imagine a blank coin planchet entering the coining press slightly out of position. When the dies strike, part of the design misses the coin entirely, leaving a blank curved area. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more collectors tend to like it. If the date remains visible while a large portion of the design is missing, the value can increase substantially. Some major off-center 1976 pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars because of their unusual appearance and collector demand. Then there are die cracks and die breaks. As coin dies wear out, tiny fractures can form. These fractures leave raised lines on the finished coin. Sometimes a break becomes so large that a raised blob known as a cud appears. Collectors actively search for these features because they tell a story about the life of the die inside the mint. Depending on size and visibility, die cracks and cuds can add significant value to a 1976 penny. You may also hear collectors discuss the famous BIE error. This occurs when a die crack forms between the letters B and E in Liberty. The crack creates what appears to be an extra letter I, making the word look like BIERTY. These errors are popular among Lincoln cent collectors because they are easy to understand and fun to hunt. While most BIE pennies are not worth thousands, they can still command premiums that make them far more valuable than ordinary cents. Another category involves wrong planchet errors. These occur when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Imagine a penny design appearing on a dime-sized blank or another incorrect planchet. Such mistakes are extremely rare. When authenticated, they can sell for remarkable amounts because they represent a major mint production error. Many collectors spend years searching for one without ever finding it. There is also a lesson every collector must learn. Not every unusual-looking coin is an error. Damage can easily fool beginners. Coins are dropped, scraped, squeezed, bent, and exposed to chemicals every day. A damaged coin might appear unusual, but that does not make it valuable. Learning the difference between genuine mint errors and post-mint damage is one of the most important skills in coin collecting. Experts recommend examining suspicious coins carefully and comparing them with known examples before assuming you have found a treasure. Now let's discuss condition in greater detail. Collectors use grading systems to evaluate preservation. A circulated coin may show heavy wear, while an uncirculated coin retains original detail and luster. As grades increase, values often rise dramatically. For the 1976 penny, the difference between an average circulated example and an exceptionally preserved specimen can be enormous. High-grade red examples are particularly sought after because so few survive in pristine condition decades after production. One reason collectors love Lincoln cents is accessibility. Unlike rare gold coins that may cost thousands of dollars just to own, Lincoln pennies can still be found in circulation, coin jars, estate sales, and bank rolls. That means virtually anyone can participate in the hunt. The possibility of discovering a valuable variety in everyday pocket change creates excitement that few other hobbies can match. Every handful of pennies becomes a treasure hunt. Every roll from the bank becomes a mystery waiting to be solved. When searching 1976 pennies, begin with a simple checklist. First, look at the date and inscriptions using magnification. Second, inspect the edges and surfaces for unusual features such as cracks, cuds, or doubling. Third, evaluate the overall condition and color. Fourth, check whether the coin appears off-center or struck incorrectly. Finally, compare any unusual findings with verified examples from reputable numismatic sources. This systematic approach dramatically improves your chances of identifying something valuable. Many collectors are surprised to learn that a common-date coin can achieve extraordinary prices simply because of condition rarity. A coin may be common overall, yet nearly impossible to find in top grades. Registry set collectors compete fiercely for the finest certified examples available. As a result, certain high-grade 1976 pennies have sold for thousands of dollars despite the enormous original mintage. These sales demonstrate that quality can sometimes matter just as much as rarity. Another fascinating aspect of the 1976 penny is its connection to the bicentennial era. Americans were celebrating 200 years since the Declaration of Independence, and patriotic enthusiasm swept across the country. Special coin designs appeared on larger denominations, but the penny remained unchanged. Because it looked ordinary, many people overlooked it. Today, that overlooked status makes the coin especially interesting to collectors who enjoy searching for hidden value in familiar places. If you believe you have found a rare variety or significant error, avoid cleaning the coin. This is one of the most common mistakes made by new collectors. Cleaning often damages surfaces and reduces value dramatically. Collectors prefer original coins, even if they show age. A professionally authenticated and graded coin will almost always command more respect in the marketplace than a cleaned example. You might be wondering whether the coin shown in this video is worth thousands of dollars. The truth is that most circulated 1976 pennies are common. However, value depends entirely on the specific coin. A strong double die, major off-center strike, wrong planchet error, or exceptional uncirculated condition could change the story completely. That's why collectors examine every detail carefully before making conclusions. The beauty of coin collecting is that knowledge creates opportunity. Two people can hold identical handfuls of pennies, yet only one recognizes the rare variety hiding among them. Education transforms ordinary change into a field of possibilities. The more you learn about errors, varieties, grading, and minting processes, the greater your chances of spotting something special. So the next time you see a 1976 penny, don't dismiss it. Turn it over. Study the date. Examine the lettering. Look for doubling, cracks, off-center strikes, and other unusual characteristics. Check the color and condition. That tiny copper coin may be worth only a cent, or it could be the beginning of an exciting discovery. While most examples remain common, the few extraordinary pieces prove that treasures can still be hiding in everyday places. And that's exactly why collectors continue searching through pennies year after year. Sometimes the next valuable coin is already sitting in your pocket, waiting for someone to notice it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow coin hunters. And before spending any old pennies, take a second look. You never know when a forgotten 1976 Lincoln cent might surprise you with a value far beyond 1 cent.